Absence by Claude McKay. Your words dropped into my heart like pebbles into a pool, rippling around my breast and leaving it melting cool. Your kisses fell sharp on my flesh like dawn dews from the limb of a fruit-filled lemon tree when the day is young and dim. Like soft rain-christened sunshine, as fragile as rare gold lace, your breath sweet-scented and warm has kindled my tranquil place. But a silence vasty deep, oh deeper than all these ties, now through the menacing miles brooding between us lies. And more than the songs I sing, I await your written word, to stir my fluid blood as never your presence stirred.
The Best Thing in the World by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. What's the best thing in the world? June rose by May dew impearled, sweet south wind that means no rain, truth not cruel to a friend, pleasure not in haste to end, beauty not self-decked and curled till its pride is overplain, light that never makes you wink, memory that gives no pain, love when so you're loved again. What's the best thing in the world? Something out of it, I think.
The Coming of Te Rauparaha by Arthur Henry Adams. Blue, the wreaths of smoke like drooping banners from the flaming battlements of sunset hung suspended, and within his whare, Ipe, last of Ngāti Raukawa's chieftains, lay a-dying. Ringed about his deathbed like a palisade of carven figures stood the silent people of the village, warriors and women of his hapu, waiting. Then a sudden spilth of sunlight splashed upon the mountain peak above them, and it blossomed redly like a rata. With his people and the twilight pausing, withering to death in regal patience, taciturn and grim, lay Hipe dying. Shuddering and green, a little lizard made a ripple through the whare's darkness, writhing close to Hipe. Then a whisper on the women's dry lips hesitated as the ring of figures fluttered backwards. "'Tis the spirit thing that comes to carry Hipe's Dadi soul across the waters to the world of stars." And Hipe grimly felt its hungry eyes a-glitter on him. Then he knew the spirit world had called him, knew the lizard messenger must hasten, and would carry back a soul for answer. 20 days in silence he had listened, dumb with thoughts of death and sorely troubled, for his tribe left leaderless and lonely. Now like sullen thunder from the blackness of the whare swept a voice untinctured with a stain of sickness, and the women, breaking backwards, shrieked in sudden terror, "'Tis the weird thing's voice, the greenish lizard, all impatient for the soul of Hipe." But the warriors in the shadows straightened, drooping shoulders, gripped their greenstone meres, and the rhythmic tumult of the war dance swept the great pa with its throbbing thunder, while their glad throats chanted, "Eh, 'tis Hipe, Hipe's voice that led us in the battle. Hipe, young, come back to lead us ever. Warriors and women of my hapu," whirled the voice of Hipe from the darkness. "I have had communion with the spirits. Listen while I chant the song they taught me. I have seen the coming end of all things, seen the Maori shattered neath the onrush of the white-faced strangers, like the flashing of the sun god through the ranks of darkness, like the fire god rippling through the forest, like the winter's silent blight of snowflakes. Lo, the strange outbreak of pallid blossoms sweeps the surging wave of stranger faces, frothing irresistibly upon us. Lo, the Pakaha shall come and conquer. We have failed. The gods are angry with us. See the withered autumn of our greatness. Old ancestral myths and sacred legends that we deemed immortal Priest and wizard died, and yet their stories, like a river, through the long years ran on, ever changeless. Shall be buried, and the names long given to each hill and stream and path and gully shall be like a yesterday forgotten, blown like trembling froth before the sea breeze. And the gods that people all our islands, this great sea of presences immortal, living, real, alert for charm or evil, hurrying in every breeze and haunting, heavy-winged, the vistas of the forest, deluging the daylight with their presence, teeming, flooding, brimming in the shadows, shall be banished to their spirit regions, and the world be lorn of gods and lonely. And the Maori shall no long time linger, ere a tardy exile he shall journey to the underworld. Yet he shall never break before this influx, but shall fight on, till a mangled thing, the tide o'erwhelm him. And my tribe, the mighty Ngati Raukawa, had they left one worthy chieftain only, who could lead my people on to victory, who could follow where my feet have trodden, might yet rear their name into a pillar carved with fame, until their stubborn story from the mists of legend broke tremendous, flaming through the chilly years to follow, with a sunset splendor, huge, heroic. So he ceased, and tremulous the silence sighed to voice in one long wail of sorrow. So it was the truth that Hipe taught them. None was left to lead them on to victory. None could follow where his feet had trodden. Then by name old Hipe called the chieftains, weakling sons of that gaunt, wrinkled giant, stunted saplings blanching in the shadow of the old trees' overarching greatness. One by one he called them, and they shivered, for they knew no answer to his question. Can you lead my people on to victory? Can you follow where my feet have trodden? Then the old chief in his anger chanted, frenziedly, a song of scorn of all things, and the frightened people of the village, warriors and women of his hapu, quavered to murmurs neath the whirlwind of his lashing words. Then he fretted into gusts of anger, and the lizard made a greenish ripple in the darkness, shuddering closer to him. And the people bending heard a whisper pass above them. Is there none to lead you on to victory? None to follow where my feet have trodden? Lo, a sudden rumour from the edges of the silent concourse, where the humblest of the village couched in utter baseness. There among the outcasts one leapt upright, clean-limbed, straight and comely as a sunbeam, eager muscles clad in tawny velvet, eyes aflash with prescience of his power, yet a boy, untried in warrior's warfare. Virgin to the battle, and untroubled rang a daring voice across the darkness. Yes, my people, one there is to lead you. I dare point you on to fame and victory. I dare tread where Hipe's feet have trodden. Yea, and prouder rang the voice above them. I can promise mightier fame unending. I shall lead where Hipe dared not tempt you. I shall make new footprints through the future. I, the youth, Te Raupraha, have spoken. On the boy who braved them stormed the people, swept with fear and anger, and they clamoured. Who so proudly speaks, though not a chieftain? Rank and name and fame he has none. How then dare he lead where sons of chieftains falter? But the boy leapt forward to the whare, clean-limbed, straight and comely as a sunbeam, eager muscles clad in tawny velvet, eyes aflash with prescience of his power, swinging high the mere he had fashioned out of wood, and carven like a chieftain's. Aye, and with the toy had slain a foeman, flinging fiery speech out like a hailstorm. If you choose me, chieftain, I shall lead you down to meet the White One on the sea-coast, where his horde shall break like scattered billows from our wall of meres. Him overwhelming, I shall wrest his flaming weapons from him, fortify for par the rugged island Kapati. Then, like a black hawk swooping, I shall whirl upon the southern island, sweep it with my name as with a tempest, overrun it like the play of sunlight, sigh across it like a flame, till terror runs before me shrieking. And our pathway shall be sullen red with flames and bloodshed, and shall moan with massacre and battle, quenching every foe beneath my mana. Tribe shall stand with tribe, till all my nation, like a harsh impassive wall of forest, imperturbably shall front the strangers. Then the name of me, Teurapraha, and the tribe I lead, the Ngatitor, shall be shrined in sacred myth and legend, with the glamour of our oft-told prowess wreathed about them. Think we shall be saviours of a race, a nation, and this island we have sown so thick with names, each hillock, glen and gully, stream and tribal limit, shall forever blossom like a garden. With the liquid softness of their music, and the flute shall still across the evening lilt and waver, brimming with love's yearning. Hipe heard, and dying cried in triumph, "Warriors and women of my Hapu, he shall lead you, he, Teurapraha. He shall do the things that he has promised. He may fail, but think how grand his failure. He alone can lift against the tempest that proud head of his, and hugely daring, godlike, hugely fail, or hugely conquer." Still he spoke, but suddenly the lizard made a greenish ripple through the darkness, and was gone. Upon the long, lone journey to Tereanga, and the world of spirits, it had started with the soul of Hipe. Then the plaintive wailing of the women quavered through the darkness, and a shudder took the slaves that in a horror waited for the mercy of the blow to send them. The sombre, slowly stepping phalanx to the twilight world with Hipe's spirit.
Deceived by Carrie Williams Clifford. To war I gave my firstborn, debonair and overflowing with the joy of life. His heart was empty of all thought of strife. He dreamed of radiant life, devoid of care. When next Columbia called, I gave my little lad, my babe, my youngest born, full of the light and promise of the morn, and ready his beloved land to save. These two I gave, my firstborn and my last, the Alpha and Omega of my love's dream, so rudely shattered by war's lurid gleam, my all into her seething cauldron cast. Whose the condemnation then, if I shame the false lips that lured them with a lie?
Feed My Sheep by Mary Baker Eddy. Shepherd, show me how to go o'er the hillside steep, how to gather, how to sow, how to feed thy sheep. I will listen for thy voice, lest my footsteps stray. I will follow and rejoice all the rugged way. Thou wilt bind the stubborn will, wound the callous breast, make self-righteousness be still, break earth's stupid rest. Strangers on a barren shore, laboring long and lone, we would enter by thy door, and thou know'st thine own. So when day grows dark and cold, terror triumph arms, lead thy lambkins to the fold, take them in thine arms. Feed the hungry, heal the heart, till the morning's beam, white as wool, ere they depart. Shepherd, wash them clean.
Fleming Helfenstein by Edwin Arlington Robinson. At first I thought there was a superfine persuasion in his face, but the free glow that filled it when he stopped and cried, "Hello!" shone joyously, and so I let it shine. He said his name was Fleming Helfenstein, but be that as it may, I only know he talked of this and that and so, and laughed and chaffed like any friend of mine. But soon, with a queer, quick frown, he looked at me, and I looked hard at him, and there we gazed, with a strained shame that made us cringe and wince. Then, with a wordless, clogged apology that sounded half confused and half amazed, he dodged, and I have never seen him since.
The Great Brown Owl by Mother Goose. The brown owl sits in the ivy bush, and she looketh wondereth wise, with a horny beak beneath her cowl and a pair of large round eyes. She sat all day on the selfsame spray from sunrise till sunset, and the dim grey light it was all too bright for the owl to see in yet. Jenny Owlet, said a merry little bird, they say you're wondrous wise, but I don't think you see me, though you're looking at me with your large round shining eyes. But night came soon, and the pale white moon rolled high up in the skies, and the great brown owl flew away in her cowl with her large round shining eyes.
The Old Stage Queen by Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Back in the box by the curtains shaded, she sits alone by the house unseen. Her eye is dim, her cheek is faded, she who was once the people's queen. The curtain rolls up, and she sees before her a vision of beauty and youth and grace. Ah, no wonder all hearts adore her, silver-throated and fair of peace. Out of her box she leans and listens. Oh, is it with pleasure or with despair that her thin cheek fails and her dim eye glistens, while that fresh young voice sings the grand old air? She is back again in the past's bright splendor, when life seemed worth living and love a truth. Here time had told her she must surrender her double dower of fame and youth. It is she herself who stands there singing to that sea of faces that shines and stirs, and the cheers on cheers that go up ringing and rousing the echoes are hers, all hers. Just for one moment the sweet delusion quickens her pulses and blurs her sight, and wakes within her that wild confusion of joy that is anguish and fierce delight. Then the curtain goes down, and the lights are gleaming brightly o'er circle and box and stall. She starts like a sleeper who wakes from dreaming. Her past lies under a funeral pall. Her day is dead, and her star descended, never to rise or shine again. Her reign is over, her queenship ended. A new name is sounded and sung by men. All the glitter and glow and splendor, all the glory of that lost day, with the friends that seem true and the love that seemed tender. Why, what is it all but a dead bouquet? She rises to go. Has the night turned colder? The new queen answers to call and shout, and the old queen looks back over her shoulder. Then all unnoticed she passes out.
The Owl, the Eel, and the Warming Pan by Laura E. Richards. The owl and the eel and the warming pan, they went to call on the soap-fat man. The soap-fat man, he was not within. He'd gone for a ride on his rolling pin. So they all came back by the way of the town and turned the meeting house upside down.